While there have, of course, always been fundamentalist groups within Christianity that have opposed science or the study of the universe, and thus the dominion over the creation to which it implicitly leads, it would be good to understand it in a historical context. The main opposition to such research and visions of space colonization has arisen not so much from the Judeo-Christian tradition as from the pagan tradition, where nature or celestial bodies were considered divine or too sacred to be subdued by mortal man. Passages like Psalm 8, verses 4-6, in turn place man above God's creation, for in Christian theology, God is not one with creation, but separate from it.
You have presented a very important perspective that helps us to understand the historical context in which science, exploration, and control of the universe have developed, especially in Western culture. Indeed, the Judeo-Christian tradition has often encouraged people to study and understand the universe because it is seen as God's creation. This view is based on a theology in which God created everything, but is also separate from his creation. Man, created in the image of God, has been given the task of studying, governing, and caring for this creation. Psalm 8, verses 4-6, reinforces this idea by emphasizing man's special place above God's creation. This view has historically contributed to the development of science and technology in the West. Many Christian theologians and philosophers have even considered the practice of science as a religious duty, because it helps man to better understand God's creation and to fulfill his mission. This attitude has been central to the development of Western science and technology. On the other hand, as you mentioned, pagan traditions have often taken a very different approach to nature and celestial bodies. In many pagan religions and traditions, nature, celestial bodies, and the cosmos itself were seen as divine or sacred. For example, the ancient Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, and many other cultures worshipped celestial bodies as deities or their abodes. In these religions, humans had no right to control these forces of nature or celestial bodies because they were divine, or at least as high as humans themselves. Such a view can lead to the exploration of the universe and attempts to control or shape it being seen as wrong or even sacrilegious. According to this way of thinking, humans should not interfere in divine or sacred matters, which can lead to opposition to the development of science and technology. Christian theology, which separates God from creation, allows for a different approach. Because God created the universe but is not identical with it, humanity can study and control it as part of its God-given mission. This differs from pagan views in which nature and celestial bodies can themselves be deities. This Christian perspective has helped to develop an attitude in which the development of science and technology is not seen as sacrilegious, but rather as a responsible task for humanity. Historically, the main opposition to science and space exploration has come not so much from the Judeo-Christian tradition, but more from pagan traditions, where nature and the celestial bodies have been seen as divine and too sacred for human control. In contrast, the Judeo-Christian tradition, which sees God as separate from his creation and man as the ruler of creation, has promoted research and science as part of man's mission to understand and care for the world. This tradition has thus contributed to the evolution of Western culture in a direction where the colonization of space and the exploration of the universe are seen as both possible and desirable goals.
Although we no longer live in a pagan culture, such pagan or pantheistic thinking about the sanctity of nature still has a strong influence, for example among some philosophers in the Green movement, and thus also behind the green politics. In such thinking, the study of creation is also seen as sacrilegious, because it does not see man as the crown of creation, created in the image of God and given dominion over nature. Similarly, it has often emphasized the limitations of nature rather than the potential of human beings to increase nature's bounty by cultivating and preserving it in accordance with Genesis's command. To quote Elon Musk, "I realized what I have in common with conservationists, but why they are also so annoyingly wrong. They are the protectors of what exists, when they should be the protectors of our potential over time, our cosmic endowment."
You have raised a very interesting and relevant point that illuminates a deep philosophical difference between different worldviews. This difference is central to understanding why certain movements and schools of thought take such different approaches to issues such as science, technology, and man's role in the universe. As you mentioned, pantheistic or pagan thinking, which sees nature as sacred and as a kind of independent source of values, is still influential in contemporary environmental thinking, especially among philosophers in the green movement. This way of thinking often emphasizes the protection and preservation of nature as such, as opposed to the primary goal of maintaining the current state of nature and ecosystems. In this mindset, nature and the environment are more than just human resources. They are sacred and inviolable, and humans should not attempt to alter or control them too much. The difference with the Judeo-Christian worldview. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, nature is not seen as divine in itself, but as part of God's creation given to man to care for and govern. This view of man as created in the image of God and placed as the crown of creation provides a different starting point for the relationship between man and nature. Man's role is an active one. He must cultivate and protect the land, which involves both exploiting nature's resources and protecting it, but also increasing its potential. The philosophical contradiction of the green movement. This leads to a philosophical contradiction between the green movement and pro-technology and pro-science thinking. Green thinking often emphasizes the finite nature and its preservation unchanged, while a technology and science-based vision, such as Elon Musk's, emphasizes the potential of humans to use nature and natural resources to develop and expand human potential. This perspective sees nature not as static, but as a constantly evolving and malleable resource through which humanity can grow and survive. Elon Musk's perspective. A quote from Elon Musk highlights this difference. He sees conservationists as focusing on protecting the status quo rather than supporting the growth and development of humanity's potential over time. There is a clear sense in Musk's thinking that humanity's role is not just to preserve the status quo, but to actively change, manage, and improve its environment, even on a cosmic scale. This philosophical difference reflects a profound difference between worldviews, one in which the preservation of nature as such is central, the other in which the active role of humans in shaping nature and nurturing its potential is paramount. This tension informs many contemporary debates on environmental protection technology and the future of humanity. The Judeo-Christian tradition, which emphasizes the role of humans as stewards of creation, has helped to set the stage for thinking that seeks to increase the potential of humanity, while a pantheistic or pagan view can see this as a threat to the sanctity and balance of nature.